Its 14 separate colleges included several dating from the 13th century, and 6 more colleges were founded in the years before and after the Reformation. In 1534, King Henry VIII had passed the Act of Supremacy, rejecting the papacy and making himself the head of the Church in England. All those holding any kind of important position in the land had to take an oath accepting this new claim. The heads of the university colleges, all those who taught there, and all the students had to become Anglicans. There was a brief change back to the old Catholic faith again under Queen Mary, but her sister Queen Elizabeth made the country thoroughly Protestant during her long reign. It was to be 300 years before Catholics were allowed to study at Oxford University again. This is St John's College, one of the new Protestant colleges which was founded in 1555 by the Lord Mayor of London, Sir Thomas White. White appointed as one of his first lecturers a brilliant young scholar from London. Edmund Campion had taken his BA degree in 1560. In order to qualify, he had to take the oath of supremacy acknowledging Elizabeth as head of the Church. He had grown up in a more or less Catholic household in London and was sympathetic to the old faith. But with a future so bright and so full of promise and success in Oxford, he found it difficult to follow his conscience. Putting career and fame first, Campion went on to take his master's degree in 1564. Campion had strong views on what the perfect student should be like. He should be pious, modest, kind and graceful, respectful to his superiors and generous with his equals. He should master many subjects: Latin, Greek and Hebrew, rhetoric, astronomy, mathematics and history. And he should learn to sing, write music and paint. Campion himself shone in many of these areas. A true Renaissance man. No wonder that everyone who met him was charmed. He was idolized by many Oxford students who dressed like him and even copied his hand gestures. Campion was all set up to become one of the century's greatest scholars, and went as far as being ordained a deacon in the Anglican Church. But all the time, there was growing in his mind the feeling that the true faith was that which was passed down from Christ to his apostles through the ages, the Catholic Church. How could the truth have been hidden for 1,500 years and only revealed to a handful of Englishmen in the 16th century? It wasn't logical. It wasn't possible. Campion had a big decision to make. Should he ignore his conscience and his reading of the Church Fathers, both urging him to return to the Catholic fold? This would mean abandoning all his worldly ambitions and risking the dreadful penalties that awaited Catholics under Elizabeth. In order to escape from debate in Oxford that threatened to make him decide where he stood, he left the university and went to Ireland. In Dublin, Campion was tutor to a wealthy family he knew and wrote a history of Ireland under the name of Mr. Patrick. But Ireland turned out not to be a good hiding place for him. The country was coming under great suspicion from Protestant England, especially after Queen Elizabeth was excommunicated by the Pope in 1570, and Campion was no longer safe there. He fled back to England in disguise, and from London to Europe. He had made his great decision, and it was not just to become a Catholic, but also a priest. Campion got safely to Saint-Omer in modern-day Belgium, where there was the new Catholic seminary of Douai. Here he was reconciled to the Catholic Church and began his studies. At the seminary, he found himself not with the academic cream of Oxford, pleased with their debates and pamphlets, but with men of prayer and grace, future martyrs of the Catholic Church in England. Was he worthy to become one of them? After 5 years of prayer and study, he made a bold decision. The disciplined life and spirituality of the Jesuits was the path he wished to tread, a path of obedience and sacrifice. Campion was first sent as a novice to the Jesuit seminary in Prague and was ordained there in 1575. He spent the next 5 years teaching in the seminary. He must have thought that he would never see his country again. But in 1580, everything changed when a new mission to England was established, and Campion was chosen to go on it. He landed secretly on these shores once more, but this time as a priest, and soon to be a hero and a martyr. The English mission was extremely dangerous. Priests were branded as traitors to the crown, horrific punishments were enacted, and Jesuits especially were hunted down. The government had discovered that Campion was coming. This man, who had once been such a royal favourite and a diamond of England, was now the highest prize for the priest hunters. On his journey from Prague to England, Campion had written a remarkable document, often nicknamed Campion's Brag. It was addressed to the most important members of the government, and it was his manifesto for his work in England, bringing Catholics back to the old faith. It was secretly printed and distributed. To the Catholics of England, ground down by betrayal, ruin, imprisonment, and death, it was like a breath of pure air in their damp prison cells. To the authorities, it was a very bold and daring statement.
I confess that I am a priest of the Catholic Church and of the Society of Jesus. I have taken upon me a special kind of warfare and resigned all possibility of wealth, honour, pleasure, or other worldly felicity. My charge is to preach the gospel, to minister the sacraments, to instruct the simple, to reform sinners. I do ask 3 sorts of audiences. The first before your honours, before the chosen men of both universities, and before the lawyers. I doubt not that you will see upon what substantial grounds our Catholic faith is builded. The expense is reckoned, the enterprise is begun. It is of God, it cannot be withstood. So the faith was planted, so it must be restored.
Professor Kilroy, hello. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
So when Campion joined the Jesuits, he was obviously attracted to their way of life, but it would have involved some sacrifices as well. What would that have involved, becoming a Jesuit? What are the sort of things that he would have had to give up?
Well, I think the principal thing that he gave up was his own will, and I think he was, he'd already given up his career. I mean, I think this was a difficult sacrifice for him, and he was, I say, very well connected by the time he made the decision to leave Oxford. And he'd taken a benefice in Sherborne in the Windrush Valley. And I think it was a big sacrifice at that point.
When the Jesuits decided to have the new English mission, obviously it was incredibly dangerous. And they must have known that a lot of them would end up making the ultimate sacrifice, as Campion did. Why do you think the Jesuits in particular felt the need to be part of this mission, and why they were the suitable ones to do it?
Well, in a way, of course, the decision was not theirs, but Cardinal Allen, or Dr. Allen as he was then. Allen, I think in 1579, the winter of 1579 to 1580,